that's a little bit cool. And, you know, it's been an amazing period of time for me. I've gotten to know the people of this country so well, all over. Alabama, Arkansas, I mean, no matter where, Mississippi, no matter where we go, we have these tremendous crowds. I wasn't expected to win the South. We won the South in a landslide. And then they said, well, you know, Massachusetts you can't win, and we won Massachusetts, got almost 50% of the vote, with many, many people running. And then we went down in South Carolina and New Hampshire with my first one. I'll always love New Hampshire. It was my first one, and we weren't expected to win. And we're winning with evangelicals, big. You know, they don't like, I'll tell you what, they're falling out of love with Lion Ted Cruz. They don't like liars. They don't like liars. Lion Ted. You know, I get up and every day I say, we've got to repeal and replace Obamacare. Then I heard him 2 years ago, Donald Trump likes Obamacare. I said, what's going on here? No, we are going to repeal and replace it. But every once in a while I go and I state the facts because I've never seen a person like this. Now the good news is he's way down in the polls. People aren't believing it and they're starting to leave town. The other thing is, I was at the hotel room and so many negative ads, and they're mostly wrong in all fairness. I have to tell you, so we have a group, crooked as can be, almost as crooked Hillary Clinton. She is crooked. She's 100% crooked. But just a group of lightweights, Club for Growth, whatever that is. They spend millions on negative ads. So they come to see me. A friend of mine says, would you see the Club for Growth? I said, what's that? This is in New York. They said, what's that? They said, this is a club, and they do whatever. He couldn't even define it. So they come in. I did it as a favor for the guy. And he talks about it. I said, what do you do? And he talks, gives you a little whatever. And I said, so what are you looking for? Would you give us $1 million? I said, what? Why? Who are you people? You know, we can be rich, but we don't have to be stupid. Do we agree? So, this dumb Club for Growth. So then he writes a letter, and I put it up on the website. He writes a letter asking me for $1 million. So in a nice way, I said, no, I don't even know what they do. I'd rather take the money and throw it out the window, let people pick it up. I'd rather do it. Let's distribute it here. So here's what happened. So he writes me his letter, which is honestly a stupid thing to do. But he writes me a letter asking for $1 million for Club for Growth. I say no. And now they're killing me with ads, negative ads. In other words, they liked me, everything was good, would you contribute? When I said, no, I'm not going to contribute, they spent millions of dollars on ads right here. I said, that's the group that wanted money from me. That's the group that was telling me how great I am. And now they're advertising. It just shows, folks, this is a rigged business. This is a dirty, rigged business. Not good. And when you watch those negative ads on television, and they're just false, yeah, most of them. There's a couple of little truths in there somewhere, I guess. Right? You know, can't be 100% wrong, but they're mostly wrong. Some are actually 100% wrong. There was one that when you add up Kasich and Cruz, we win. Except when you add them both up, right? You notice that. And you see the number of delegates. And when you add it up, we will stop Trump. When you add it up, except there's one problem. And they show, it's a bar graph. So I'm up here, they're here, and here. And when you add it up, they win. So you add it up, and they're about 150 votes short, right? But they add it up, but the bar graph is up here. And they don't say that when one gets out, I get a lot of the votes, you know? Like when Jeb Bush left the race, everyone said, if you add Jeb and all the other candidates, they beat Trump. This is a while ago. Now they don't beat Trump, actually. Now they don't even. But this is a while ago. No, it's just such crooked stuff. Very dishonest. But they say, when you add, I watch this guy, Karl Rove. The guy is a dummy. He's on Fox. And he said, Donald Trump has not gotten 50%. This again a month ago, because in New York I got 62. And with Pennsylvania and Maryland, with all these things, we broke 50 and even 60. But we had Maryland, Connecticut, Delaware, Rhode Island. We won in landslides, every one of them. But I watched Karl Rove say, he has not broken 50%. So I had a state where I had 44%. I had one where I had 48%. I got 6 guys I'm running against at that point. See, it's a very unfair thing because in the history of Republican politics, there's never been 17 people that ran for office, okay? So you have 17. So let's say we go into the first state and you hit 17, and then you go down to 15, then you go down to 12 or 14 or something. And I'm getting 30s and 35s and 40s. But you can't break. Now, last couple of weeks ago, New York and others, but in New York and Massachusetts, I almost broke 50%. Well, Tom Brady likes me, so that's good. That helps when Tom Brady likes you, because Tom is a great guy. No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. And by the way, he has a lot of respect for your quarterback. If your quarterback is healthy, I think you're going to have a great team this year, I have to tell you. It's like life. You have to stay healthy, folks. We have to all stay healthy. But in Massachusetts, I did great, right? And then you go down to Alabama, I did great. But when you have 7, 8, 9 people, and then you get 44 or 42%, and the bottom line, here's what it all is. It's a bad system, it's a rigged system, the delegate stuff is really dishonest. Because you can go and buy delegates, you can take delegates to dinner and hotel rooms and take them for a cruise to Paris, but who wants to go to Paris? I'd rather stay here. But you can do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do. But the way you beat the system is the way we're beating the system. We're getting so many votes, there's nothing they can do. It's like a disaster for them. So, Cruz, with his phony rhetoric, everything's so dramatic. Cruz. I had television, I shouldn't be watching. I'm coming up on television, he was speaking, the hand and the flourish, a simple statement. And I can't watch, I turned it off, I can't watch. But darling, he's speaking about you. I said, no, I can't watch the guy. And other people agree. In fact, when he goes on, his ratings go like this. The ratings for television, which isn't a good thing. That's why they have me on so much. It's true. They put me on not because I'm a nice person, which I am. They put me on because I get great ratings, okay? Okay? And you know why I get great ratings? Because I'm real. People get it. People get it. And I get great ratings because I'm... Well, actually, television doesn't care about poll numbers. You can be at the bottom of the poll, but if you're getting great ratings, you're going to be on, right? You can come up with a cure to a major, horrible disease. And if you don't get ratings, you're not on. They won't even announce it. This is the way they are. Now, the press, that's a good group of people. Extremely dishonest people, we know. Like beyond belief, all right? Beyond belief. We had a crowd, 31,000 people the other day. That's where they had some little problems outside where these thugs were jumping on police cars. And honestly, the police are great. The police in this country are incredible people. But they're under tremendous restrictions. And you have a thug like that pounding the car, causing, probably totaling almost the car. He's jumping on the roof, and the roof is caved in, and the hood's get it. And you gotta be tough. You can't let people do that. You can't let people do that. I mean, this guy should be put in jail for 5 years. He'll never do it again, I promise. But they have a policy with hands off, and if a cop touches him by mistake, they lose their career, they lose their pension, they get fired. Our police in this country are incredible, and they really put up with a lot. And it's a shame, and I love them, and we have to respect them. And I just met your chief and a lot of your police officers outside. These are incredible people. And all over the country, the police departments are supporting them. All over the country. So I appreciate it. But we had 31,000 people in California. 31,000 for that one. I just flew in to do it, then I flew back here. And we had 31. We're going to do great in California. I think we're up to 49 or 50%. And by the way, polls just came out here, just now, NBC Wall Street Journal, we have a 15-point lead. And the CBS poll just came out, and I think we have either the same thing or like even a bigger lead, so we're doing good. But I don't even want to tell you that. I said, I think I'm not going to say it. Because if I say it, what happens? You'll take it nice and easy on Tuesday. No, you got to get out there. Terre Haute. We love Terre Haute. So let's talk about Terre Haute. I'm going to make you a little bit depressed, although I will tell you we're going to bring it all back. I just met your mayor, and he's a great guy. And it's very tough. Where's the mayor? Where is he? Mayor, you're doing a great job. He needs a little help from the federal government, I will say that, right? Like we have to stop the evaluation of their currencies, and we need a little help. I tell the time, about Indianapolis. I've been talking about Carrier from the first day it happened, which was when I saw the cell phone tape of that firing. And I've been talking, nobody else has. Now they're all picking it up. They're all saying, oh, let's talk about Carrier. I've been talking about this thing for like 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is they made that in every speech practically. Because it's emblematic of what's happening in the country. And it's emblematic on Terre Haute, the same thing. Let's say you've lost 1 in 7 jobs, manufacturing jobs since the recession. That's only in 2007. Labor force in the city is nearly 8,000 people smaller today than it was 25 years ago. Don't worry, Mayor, we're bringing it back. Stay in office, don't leave me. We're bringing it back. It's impossible. Local government, you can't compete. When they're moving to places where they make the product and they do you phony, I study this stuff, I love this stuff, but it's simple devaluation. They devalue their currencies. China does it better than anybody. They're like grand chess masters. We're like checker players, bad ones. They're grand chess masters. And what they do to us is incredible. And what they do to us on free trade. I'm a free trader, but our leaders are so dumb. Or dishonest, where they're getting all this special interest money. By the way, I'm self-funding my campaign, so I don't care. When you look at China, we have a trade deficit with China of $505 billion. $505 billion this year. $505 billion. And then they say, Mr. Trump is treading on very dangerous territory. We may have a trade war. That's okay. Maybe we're better off doing nothing. We're losing tremendous amounts of money, folks. Tremendous amounts of money. And when I say we can't let them devalue, and they devalued a few months ago, the biggest devaluation they've done in 2 decades. Okay? 2 decades. They took a devaluation that nobody thought that, because they've been killing us for years. But everybody said, well, that was the last one. And then we have all sorts of other problems. We have problems with Syria. We have problems with letting people come into our country who are totally undocumented. We have no idea where they come from. And we have Obama. Global warming to him is the single biggest problem in our country, if you can believe that one. I believe global warming is the single biggest problem in our country, but it's made of the nuclear variety, if you understand that. That's the one we have to be careful of. We better be damn tough and damn careful. Because nuclear is your problem with global warming. And we have a president that talks about global warming, and he doesn't talk about all of the problems that we have. And he doesn't think in terms about, so we had this one particularly bad stretch where everything bad was happening. And I don't know if you saw, we have no growth, right? You saw the recent statement came out yesterday. We have no growth, which is hard. It's hard to have no growth, and you have population expanding. You have no growth, so that means it's getting less. But we have no growth. When China has 8%, it's like a revolution time. We have no growth. We didn't even talk about it. It's a little article today. Although a couple of papers had it on the front page. But a little article, GDP. So we have no growth. 0.5. It's so little. It's so little that it's not even really measurable. And I guarantee you it's wrong. I'll bet you it's negative. I'll bet you it's actually negative growth. So we have to change what's going on, folks. We have to bring our jobs back. We can't let people take Carrier. And I tell you what, I'm a free trader, but we can't allow free trade to continue this way because it's destroying our country. You have people who want globalization, and they're more worried about the globe. I'm worried about one thing, America first. We're going to put America first. America first. And we're going to make America great again. It may be greater than ever before. But America's going first. So you have these people that actually, I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe they love the globe more. Maybe they think they're world citizens. And honestly, I understand that. And I have a bigger heart than anybody. I want to take care of people. But we have $19 trillion in debt, soon going to $21 trillion. We have $19 trillion in debt. But the horrible budget that they made 4 months ago is going to bring in the omnibus. They call it the omnibus budget. Why they call it that, who knows? But the omnibus budget is going to bring us up to $21 trillion. Nobody even knows what $1 trillion is. I was with a very, very wealthy friend of mine the other day, very successful. I said, fast, because I'll figure it out in 2 seconds again. Fast, what's $1 trillion? $1 trillion is, And the guy's got like 180 IQ, right? So we now have essentially $21 trillion in debt. We got to knock the hell out of ISIS. We've got to rebuild our military. We've got to knock the hell out of ISIS. Just so you know, I didn't want to go into Iraq. I was a civilian, so it wasn't like the most important thing. But I didn't want to go into Iraq right from the beginning. I said, you're going to destabilize the Middle East. Now, as it turned out, there were no weapons of mass destruction and all the things that they used, and I didn't even know that. But I said, you're going to destabilize the Middle East. And then Iran is going to take over Iraq, and other bad things will happen. Well, that happened to ISIS. But look at what's happening today. Have you seen the news today, what's going on in Iraq? It's like a revolution. Thousands and thousands of people are marching all over the place. Iran will take over Iraq without hardly a shot fired. And when they take over Iraq, they're taking over the second biggest oil reserves in the world. How stupid are we? And I said when we left, we shouldn't have been in. But when we left, I could see it was a crooked government. In fact, Hillary could have run the government. Crooked in one side. No, it was a crooked government. That's what we should put Hillary on. But I said when we left, I said we shouldn't have been there because, you know, for years and years, forever, I mean like forever, Iran and Iraq would fight, but they were of almost identical military power. And nothing would happen. They'd move 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet, they'd throw gas, they'd go back, they'd complain, gas is being thrown, they'd rest for 2 years. Then they'd start fighting. That's what they do. They fight. This took years and years, hundreds of years. It just developed that way, right? So we go in and knock out one of the two sides and have had nothing but problems. Then we put the wrong leaders in, and they excluded the people that ultimately formed ISIS, which turned out to be a lot tougher than them, which is surprising that they were even excluded, because ISIS is tough enough, you would have thought they could have done that, but they excluded, so you have ISIS. But think of it. If we did nothing, if our presidents went to the beach for the last 15 years, if they went to the beach and just sat in the sun all day long, other than getting skin cancer, we would have been a lot better off, right? Right? We would have been a lot better off if they did nothing. And we'd have Saddam Hussein, and he was a bad guy. You know, somebody said, I always say he was a bad guy, because if I say they'd have Saddam Hussein and he killed terrorists. So the press, the very, very crooked press, they go like this, they go, Donald Trump loves Saddam Hussein. Because I said, you know, I want to save a lot of time. I don't think I have to say he's a bad guy. People know he's a bad guy. But I said, a few months ago, I said, so you have Saddam Hussein and Saddam Hussein killed terrorists. Next day, headline, Donald Trump loves Saddam Hussein. I don't love Saddam Hussein. He was very tough. He's a bad guy. But you know what? He did one thing really well. He killed terrorists, okay? And he didn't give them trials that lasted for 97 years, and then after the trial, they go to jail for 6 months, okay? Okay, that's what we do. We read them their rights. Read them their rights, folks. Do you know? Do you have a lawyer? No. He says yes, and he doesn't have it. We let him go because we violated his rights. I mean, how stupid is our country, okay? In terms of its leadership, in terms of what we're doing, how stupid is our country and our country being run. It's so embarrassing, and that's why I ran. Because like you people, I couldn't take it anymore. I watched these things. I watched the Iran. I watched the Iran where we give $150 billion. We don't get the prisoners back. We get the prisoners after. Remember the sailors? Just before the money was to pass, they took 10 sailors. Why? Because their boat made a mistake and went over a line in this big ocean, right? Big, beautiful sea. And the boat comes out, and it goes over the line, and all of a sudden, our country, and the sailors, but our country is humiliated. And the only reason we got them back, so we would have gotten them back fast if I was president, but that's okay. But the only reason we got them back is they're not stupid, and the payment started for the $150 billion 2 days after they were caught. So they don't want to keep the sailors and say, they wanted that money. Think of how strong Iran has become. Think of it. We gave them $150 billion. They got tremendous other concessions. They will have nuclear. They can now buy nuclear. They don't have to develop it. You know, with the money they have now, they can buy nuclear. We give them $150. We want the money spent here, but we have restrictions that they can't spend the money here. So instead of spending for Boeings and, you know, our stuff, and they probably wouldn't do it anyway because they hate us, but instead of spending here, they'd go to Europe and they'd buy Airbuses, 118 Airbus airplanes, right? I mean, think of it, we give them the money, and then we have restrictions where they can't spend it in this country. Now, I don't want them here, I don't really want them here, but you know what? I'll take their money. We want jobs in this country. We don't have jobs. We'll take the money. Because the 5% is a phony number, set up by presidents and people, politicians, that want everybody to think that we're doing well. We're doing horribly. It's not just for Obama and Obama's number. This is going for a long time. And believe me, if it were really 5%, as much as we talk about the border and we want border security, we will build the wall. Believe me, 100%, we're building the wall. Who is going to pay for the wall? Not even close, folks. A trade deficit with Mexico, $58 billion. The wall's going to cost $10 billion. That's a real easy one. Are there any bad business people here? Because the bad business people would understand. The good business people, it's like automatic. I've had these guys that I debate with, and they come up like a year ago, when it first really started, the first debate. A couple of them came up. Don, hey, you know you can't actually build the wall. I said, actually you can. It's real simple. You know, beautiful precast plank goes up. Got to be beautiful because they'll call it Trump someday, maybe. But I said, nah, you know, I don't want to go with it. I want to build it for a lot of reasons, and believe me, the only one I don't want is it. No, I want to build some beautiful Washington monument, right? Don't we want that? We are going to be so successful as a country. And you will be proud of your president, and you will be proud of your country again. I'm telling you, you will. And you know, a lot of it is really common sense. A lot of it is common sense. For instance, Carrier. So they leave your great state. I love this state. I have so many friends in this state that they're great people. They're amazing people. And that's why I had heard that like a few months ago we were behind. I said, I don't think so. And then a poll came out, we were even. And by the way, another 2 polls just came out. And I'm not even proud of this, but you know, you always hear this stuff about Hillary. I'm even with Hillary Clinton, Rasmussen poll and another. I hate to even say I'm even with her, but I haven't started on her. Remember, I watched this guy, Lindsey Graham. I don't want to say it. I watched Lindsey Graham on television this morning. I haven't even started on her. I knocked out 17 people. I mean, the 2 last ones, they're like hanging by their fingertips. They're joking. Don't let me fall, don't let me fall. Let me choose Carly, maybe that'll turn it around. But Carly got actually have 0. When somebody gets out, you have no popularity, it doesn't help, right? And she's a nice woman. Now, if you could say Bobby Knight, that's a different story. You mean Bobby Knight? Now that's a little Bobby. Wait, we went into an arena that was packed, and I brought Bobby out. The place wouldn't stop. They were standing, just like you people are standing. You know what an honor it is? All these places I go, they stand and they have seats. They stand up and they have seats. And I'd say sit down, and they'd sit for about 30 seconds and then stand. It's really an honor. So I bring Bobby into this big arena, packed, and the place went crazy, okay? And you know, Bobby, in case you haven't heard, first of all, he's a very smart guy, okay? I gotta say that. But Bobby's slightly on the tough side, would you say, right? Slightly. The people love him. The people love him. And his record here, he won the 3 championships, he won the Olympics, he won the Pan Am Games, he won 900 games. And the people, when they saw Bobby Knight, they went totally crazy. And then he endorsed me totally. And he's actually, I think he's coming back tomorrow. He's coming, he wants to go and campaign. He's loving it. But he's like this fantastic. He's a fantastic guy. But that's what you call somebody that matters. That's what you call, especially for the people of Indiana. But you know what I'm surprised with Bobby? Long outside of Indiana, because we're seeing polls all over the place, he was on network television. He was all over. Just, they covered him. Because he's respected far beyond the borders of Indiana. So it's a great thing. So we have Bobby, and we have some other people that are coming out too. Plus we've had some great ones. Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, Chris Christie, Sarah Palin has been great. Jerry Falwell Jr. from Liberty University has been amazing. And we've had such incredible endorsements. How about Joe? How about Sheriff Joe from Arizona, right? How about this? How about, they've never done this before in the history of the organization, 16,500 Border Patrol agents endorsed Trump. They've never endorsed anybody, ever. Which really tells you a little bit what's going on. So I have to say, so the numbers are, not great. By the mayor is doing great, but Mayor, you're going to have, the next time I come back here, we'll come as president, and instead of being down 30, down 40%, it's everywhere. All over the country, I go, and I have statisticians. And I go to Buffalo, New York, and I go to all these different places, right? Syracuse, and then I go down to Pittsburgh, and I've been everywhere. It's an amazing country. But the numbers are terrible. It's like, I have these people, and they're just people that give you the numbers from the books, done by the federal government. And how you doing? Down 49%, down this, down that. Manufacturing, 40% of the manufacturing is left. NAFTA has left, NAFTA. Now, NAFTA was approved by Kasich. Kasich voted for it when he was in Congress. He was the final vote. He voted for NAFTA. NAFTA has destroyed every place that it's touched. We are going to renegotiate our trade deals, folks, so fast. And Trans-Pacific Partnership, they both want it, meaning the two guys that are, I refuse to call them leftovers because that's not respectful, so I'm not going to, the two guys that are hanging by their fingernails. Don't let me fall. Don't let me fall. They're hanging by their fingernails. And then we go after crooked Hillary, folks. But the numbers, no matter where you go, all over, then we go Maryland, it's the same. They're almost the same. Some are a little worse than others, but they're all the same. The manufacturing's gone. The jobs are being ripped out of our country like we're babies. It's like taking candy from a baby. Because our leaders are either stupid. It's not even liberal. I really believe it. You men just shouted out liberal. It's not even liberal. Honestly, I think a lot of it's influenced by campaign contributions. Because, guys own companies, they're based in other lands, and they want to, rip off Carrier from Indiana, and they want to take Nabisco. They'll have Nabisco stock, and they want Nabisco to leave Chicago. Their big plant in Chicago is closing, and they're going to make Oreos and things in Mexico. I'm not eating the suckers, I'll tell you that. And by the way, I love Mexico. I love the Mexican people. I have thousands of Mexican people that work for me. There are thousands and thousands of Hispanics. I'm going to try and win the Hispanic vote because I produce jobs. I have thousands of Hispanics that work for me, and they're great people. But their governments are too smart, they're too cunning, they're too sharp, and we have people that don't know what they're doing. We're getting killed on the border with Mexico. We're getting killed in the jobs. Look at what's going to Mexico. Ford, $2.5 billion plant. I even had over here. It's becoming like the auto company of the world. They just ripped this out of a thing. Look at this. General Motors spending $5 billion in Mexico. Ford, $2.5 billion. It's now up. Much higher than that. Toyota, $1 billion. Mazda, Honda, Volkswagen. All of these are spending much more than $1 billion. BMW, $1 billion. Mexico, Chrysler, $1.23 billion. What are we doing here, folks? How does that help us? I was a good student at the best school. I think the Wharton School of Finance, they say it's the best bid. We're like one of the hardest schools to get into, I can tell you that. But listen to this. You don't have to be a good student. You don't even have to be smart. It doesn't help us. When Carrier, just to use them as an example, announces crudely and rudely and viciously to Carrier employees, 1,400 employees based in Indiana, that they're fired because we're moving to Mexico. And pretty vicious. They had like an upper mid-level management guy making the announcement. And I'm glad somebody got it on the tape because I think nobody would have really... I've been using this, I've been talking about it. Little did I know that, frankly, talking about it is good because Indiana is going to be such an important state. And by the way, you are so important, you got to get out and vote on Tuesday. I promise I won't let you down. These politicians are going to let you down. Lion Ted will let you down. Lion Ted will let you down. It's all a big lie. By the way, how about the deal they made? A guy that's been doing this for 9 months is killing us. So he goes and he says, listen, this guy's killing us. He calls up Kasich. Now, these guys have been politicians all their lives. Ted Cruz has been in politics and everything all his life. He's been in government. And And Kasich, I mean, he approved NAFTA many, many years ago. I vote for NAFTA. I think it's a great thing. Okay. In the meantime, they've emptied out. You got to see New England. When I went up to New England, the empty factories and plants is horrible. It's a horrible thing to see, but no matter where you go. So he goes, I've been doing this for 9 months, right? And we're killing everyone. Now I have 17 guys. I have this guy, Lindsey Graham, who honestly, and I don't want his endorsement or anything, who cares? I mean, I was at 38 in South Carolina, where he's a senator. He was at 1. I would like to be the senator from South Carolina at 1. Trump is at 38. And he had the endorsement of the governor. But I had the endorsement of the lieutenant governor, who was a great guy. And I have to tell you, when the votes came in, that was going to be a cruise state. When the votes came in, I won in a landslide, and I won with evangelicals and women and everything. And while I'm at it, in New York, in all these states that I won, these big, big states, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, I won with women. I won with women big. I beat them badly. I won with women. Because you know what? Women want to see a strong country. Women want to see a strong military. Women want to see strong borders. And on top of that, nobody will be better to women, and nobody will be better to women's health issues, a big thing, than Donald Trump. That I can tell you, okay? Nobody. So here's what happens, which is really a classic. This morning, I guess, and I don't want to say, but Heidi Cruz, who's a very nice woman, said, my husband was an immigrant. Oh, it became a big story. Because I've been saying that. I say he's an immigrant, therefore he can't run for president. But she said, my husband was an immigrant. Oh, now I guess that's in front of a group of people. But it's on tape, so I've been saying that. Now, I don't want to cause any problems. And it's not going to matter, because he's not going to win anyway. But you know, if he ever got in, first of all, he'd be terrible. Everybody hates the guy. I've never seen anything like him. Liar. Well, he's lying. Lion Ted, right? After we win, we got to get that name off his. You know, who wants to go around with that name? L-Y-I-N with a little apostrophe. L-Y-I-N. Lion Ted Cruz. He's a liar, I'll tell you. But we got to get, well, after we win, we've got to get that off him. Because I was in California 2 days ago. 31,000 people. And I said, Senator Ted Cruz is wrong, and I went on to. And as soon as I said Senator Ted Cruz, the entire place erupted simultaneously, Lion Ted. And they chanted for 3 minutes, Lion Ted. I had to calm him down, relax. So you can imagine, he's walking in the beautiful halls of after this is over, because he doesn't go too much, frankly. Well, he doesn't get anything done. The guy can't get along with anybody. The man he respected most in the United States Senate is Senator Jeff Sessions from Alabama. And he talked about Senator Sessions, Senator Sessions. Senator Sessions a month ago endorsed me. Even I was surprised with that. But Senator Sessions is a great man and a great senator. And he wants what's right for the country. He likes that. He actually he's probably the only one that says that. People hate this guy. And you know, the truth is, you can't have, he filibusters. So he's out there for a day, you know, talking and reading all sorts of passages. In other words, he's filibustering. We all know what that means. He's delaying. And I just see these senators that have been there for many years saying, hey, Jim, when's this clown going to get off the stage so we can get back to doing something, okay? Whether they do something or not. But it's just a waste. This guy hasn't passed one piece of major legislation. Hasn't done anything. It's all talk, no action. It's politicians generally. It's all talk, no action. So we have a chance to do something. You know, we are going to, and a lot of it's common sense. I met a friend of mine from Indiana outside. He came over, and he's a great guy, and he's in here someplace, wherever you are. Is Steve here? Steve? Well, doesn't matter. I know he's here somewhere. He's rich and shy. He said, how do you do this, Donald? I said, I don't know. I actually said to him, and I say it to a lot of people ask me, a lot of very successful people, Carl Icahn endorsed me, a lot of people endorsed me, the biggest business people. And they say, how do you do this when I stand in front of a room? You know, we have now 6,000 people standing outside. We have speakers outside. This place is packed, a record. But we have 6,000 people outside. And they said to me, I love the people outside. Those are the people. Oh, by the way, so somebody got here this morning at 1 o'clock in the morning. That I heard. Who is the person? Who? Did you get here? Really? And you went to the bathroom, no problem, right? Huh? You are amazing. 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh. I'll never forget. This began, and really in Iowa, where, frankly, we should have won. A lot of bad things happened. A lot of bad things happened, where Cruz said, Dr. Carson has left the race during the vote. And Ben didn't leave the race. He was doing great. And they took the votes, but we should have won, but that's okay. We wouldn't mention it. But during New Hampshire, the following week, I won in a landslide. And people came up to me, and they'd been there. They were there from early in the morning. I made a speech. It was like really freezing. I mean, it was seriously cold. And they were there. The speech started at 7:30. They were there from like 5 in the morning. And I say, man, they make them awfully strong up here, right? Either that or your clothing is unbelievable. But they waited, and that's when, and then the people, you know, the people, you know, I shouldn't say, yeah, Karl Rove, total moron, that say, I don't think that they will come out and vote. Yes, I agree, Karl Rove. Yes, I agree that he has tremendous crowds, but I don't think they'll vote for him. And so I say to myself, oh, wait a minute. They're here from 5 in the morning, and it's like 0 degrees out and windy. And they wait all day long, they get in at 7, and they sit and we listen, and we all love each other. And then a number of weeks later, we have an election. Now, the election takes like 2 minutes. You walk in, you vote, you walk out. I said to myself, would somebody that waited for like 12 hours and more, and goes in and has a great time, because we have a great time with a bad subject, because our country's going to hell. So the subject matter is lousy. But it's also very positive. Make America great again, you know. One of the writers said it's a very negative thing. I said, no, you're wrong. It's a very positive thing, because we're going to turn it around. So it's very positive. But with somebody that waited, the question is, with somebody that waited for hours and hours and hours, like this gentleman, what time did you get here, actually, seriously? 1:30 in the morning. Holy mackerel, you are a strong man. You are strong. I love this guy. I think he might be voting for Trump. I don't think I have to ask him. I think he might be a Trump guy. I love you, man. Thank you. That's cool. I heard. My guys just said, Mr. Trump, we've had some people out here from one in particular came here at 1:30 in the morning. I said, man, I got to call that guy out. But, you know, so you look at it, and then we have these massive votes. So here's what's happening on the voting front. We are now, as a Republican Party, you know, look, it was never like hot. You know, we were sort of considered staid, maybe a little boring, right? You know this. It's one of the hottest parties in the world right now. It's being talked about all over the world. Do you know that we are almost up 70% from 4 years ago, when unfortunately Mitt Romney, who should have won that race, that was a race that should have been won. But we're up now. Almost 70%, and the number is actually higher than that. And these are new people that have come in and they're voting in our primaries. I am millions of votes ahead of Cruz. I'm millions of votes ahead of Kasich. I mean, Kasich is 1 for 44. I call him 1 for 44. And I change every week, because every week he changes. We pick up another guy, right? Right now I think he's 1 for 44 or 45. But I'm millions of votes ahead of Cruz. And the only thing, when you read this nonsense that's written by these dishonest people back there, that Cruz has this great game to go around and pick up delegates. No. They're buying them lunches, they're buying them hotels, they're taking all. And the only thing, they get in the second round. First round is all locked up. Now here's the thing. We just broke yesterday 1,000. We have 1,004. So, those are the only ones that count. I'm not playing like the second game. You know, he wants to be a short seller. Anybody know about Wall Street short sellers? They're the ones that bet against the economy, right? Nobody likes them. They're bad people, but, you know, some very smart people. But they bet against. They want to be negative. He's trying to hope that we don't get the votes to get to the 1237. But, you know, and that'll happen. We will absolutely, we'll get there. We're so far. By the way, if we win Indiana, it's over, okay? And we're going to get there. I shouldn't say this because it takes away your excitement. We're going to get there anyway. But if we win in that, and most people think that they quit the race, and then we can focus on crooked Hillary, please. please, let's focus on Hillary. And I get a kick. This guy, Lindsey Graham, I beat him so bad. So bad. I mean, he was like dealing with a 5-year-old, okay? It was so easy. And believe me, I don't want his endorsement. But I beat him so bad. And he said, Donald Trump is not conservative. I really am, but that's okay. I don't think anyone cares. We just want to straighten out our country, right? But Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. Donald Trump, I have been doing this for many years in the military. I know, that's the problem. It shouldn't take many years. We should knock the hell out of him and be done with it. These guys. And then I beat him so badly. And then what did he do? I think he went to maybe Marco, and then he went to Bush, and then he went to everybody. And now there's only me left. And they put him on Face the Nation. And John Dickerson, a very good guy, doesn't confront him. He just talked for like 20 minutes. It's so bad. It's so unfair. And there's nobody to confront him. Well, listen, you lost in record-setting numbers. Mr. Trump attacked you, and you fell like a fly from the ceiling. Why doesn't anybody tell them? Nobody remembers that he was, you know, the problem with politics, people have short memories. Nobody remembers that he ran and made a total fool of himself in the race. So I watched this guy this morning. He was on, must have been for 15, 20 minutes. That's a long time on Sunday shows. And he just, the hatred is something. I don't hate him. I held up his phone number, remember? But I don't hate him. His phone exploded, his cell phone. I said, let me see. Because he came to my office wanting money. Years before, he wanted money. And I think I probably gave it to him. Usually I give it when a senator comes to my office. You know, you're restricted. It's like $2,000. But when you do, I hold up his phone. I said, I wonder if this phone number is still good. So it was like 3 or 4 years before. I hold up the number. I said, well, let's see. And I read off the number, and his phone exploded because it was on national television. So we have a lot of that. But, you know, it's just a dishonest business. Politics is a dishonest business. But think of this. So let's assume we did go to a second ballot. So by that time, California had a huge lead in California, 49 to like 20 or 22 or something, right? There's massive in California. Now, what you have to do is look at the crowd I had the other night. I mean, Cruz goes there, there's like 200 people waiting. I go, think of it, I go, and you have never seen anything like it. The men that ran the arena says the biggest crowd we've ever had here. And those are guys with guitars. You know, it's much easier with musical instruments than it is with your mouth, okay? So I go to California. By the time we finish, I will have 5, 6 million more votes. I will have, let's say we're at 12, they'll be at 6, 5, something. We'll have like 500 or 600 delegates more. So think of this. Now we're going to get this, so it's not going to matter. But let's assume we were a tiny bit short, we're a couple of delegates short. Okay? And what's unfair is, because there were 17 people, you can't get to 50 on all those early states. And even now it's hard to get to, we have 3. How many people can get over 50 with 3? But I'm getting way up in the 60s. So, but all those early states. So I say to myself, wait a minute. You're now the head of the RNC, good guy, Reince Priebus. And he's got a problem. The problem is he's got one man with millions of votes more and hundreds of delegates more, and he's got another guy in the second ballot because they bought him hamburgers, right? And he wins on the second ballot. I don't think people can get away with that stuff. So we don't play the second ballot game. We're only playing to win. And we'll win. We'll get another first ballot. Now, with all of that being said, I have to tell you, that's why I've worked hard in Indiana. I've really gotten to know the state, and it's great. Great people, great people. But it's really hard. It's really important that we win, because if we win, you know, we want to raise money for the party. We want to raise money for the Senate races and for the congressional races and do a lot of things instead of wasting our time with these people. I mean, we're wasting time. He can't win. They have no path. You know, I did a little thing yesterday. It was all over the place. Here's a man who has no path to victory. And I said he set a record, right? In the first time, it is the first time in the history of politics that a man who cannot win because he has no path to victory, because he doesn't have enough delegates. If he got every delegate from now till the end to California, New Jersey, every delegate, he's still way short. So he has no path to victory. But he chose a vice presidential candidate. And I'm saying, but wait a minute, he just chose a candidate, and Carly's fine. She didn't get out because she was doing well, folks, just so you understand. She had almost a 0. But Carly's fine. But think of it, he has no path to victory, and he's choosing a vice president because he needed some publicity, because everyone knows. Indiana is so important. We have to win it. And you know where it can be good? I'll tell you. Bobby and I were so incredible. He said in front of this big stadium of people, he said, you know what? It's so important for Indiana to put Trump over the top. Because I think Trump is going to be a great president. He's going to create jobs. He's going to strengthen America. And I never thought of this. Bobby's a smart cookie, I want to tell you. You know, you don't win all those games just by being a tough guy. He's a smart guy. But he said, and if Indiana puts him over the top, he's going to be a great president. Indiana puts him over the top, Indiana's going to get a lot of credit. I said, I never thought of that. I'm going to start using that myself, Bob. But really, we want to get to business. So when a guy like a Lindsey Graham or Jeb Bush, I saw him on television, he was very nasty the other day. Now, I beat him hard. You know, I came up with the low energy, which is true. I just tell the truth. He's a very low energy. I wouldn't be saying that. By the way, had I not seen Jeb Bush on television 2 days ago saying, he is not a conservative, he just says, I said, does this guy ever learn? He's out. He had $168 million of special interest money raised. He spent more money than me times so much. You know the nice part? I think you'll appreciate this, because a lot of the people, and you know, you're money people, a lot of them, you appreciate the value. So I spent less money than anybody else, and I'm leading by a lot. Other people like Jeb have spent many times what I've spent, and they were at the bottom. Now you tell me, who do you want as a president? Okay? Who do you want? Who do you want as a president? Oh, but I wouldn't be saying bad things about Jeb. In fact, I was starting to say nice things about him. And then all of a sudden, I see this interview he does with CNN, and he hit me. I said, what's he hitting me for? It's over. And then I saw he hit him back a little bit. You know, you always have to remember that, folks, right? You can't really let people get away with this stuff. So there's no reason for him to do that. He gave a nasty interview, although he did say that he is a gifted politician. Big deal. I don't know, is that good or bad? You tell me. I don't like to think of myself. But he said I'm a gifted politician, and he called it a phenomenon. One thing that I will say, what's happening here, what's happening all over this country, is a phenomenon, they say. Bill O'Reilly, who I respect a lot, he's a tough guy, smart. He said in his, that's tough. I mean, sometimes they get angry because I say, what are you doing? I mean, you know, it's like every interview is a war. But he's a tough guy and he's smart. And he said, very strongly, that what's happened with Trump is the most important, single most important political event that has happened in my lifetime. He said in his lifetime. And he called it a great phenomenon. And it's not me, it's you. I'm a good messenger. You have some other guys that are not good messengers, and then you have other people that do it for themselves. I'm a great messenger. I'm sort of giving your message. Because people now are making less money in real wages than they made 18 years ago. People now are working for a carrier, and they announce they're leaving. Goodbye, they're going to Mexico. And I stop. Want to know how to stop it real easy? Carrier, congratulations, enjoy your stay in Mexico. Every unit you make, 35% tax, have a good time. Number one, they're not moving. And if they do move, our country's going to make a fortune, okay? Our country's going to make a fortune. And we've got to stop with this globalization and free trade, and it's all done for special interests. And again, free trade is good, but let me negotiate the deals, not these clowns that we have negotiating, okay? So just in finishing, you know, when I started on June 16th, coming down the escalator with my wife Melania, and I said, oh boy, I had, you know, like this simple, beautiful life. I built this great company. I started off with $1 million loan. I built a net worth of over $10 billion. And great assets, low debt, great cash. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. One thing I can tell you, if I didn't do a good job, I wouldn't be doing it, because they have records and they have everything I've ever signed. And you know what I did? I announced all these characters. They said, you won't announce. I announced. Then they said, he'll never sign Form A, because that's when you sign your life away. I signed Form A. Then I put my numbers in, my numbers are great. I built a great company. And my kids will run it with executives, and we're going to be great. You know, I won't even care about it. You know, somebody said, well, do you think you have a conflict? I don't care about the government. I'm talking about fixing the United States of America, making it good. I don't care about some hotel I have or some building. I don't care. And by the way, I guess by osmosis, if we make the country good, everything's going to be better, okay? Your houses, everything's going to be better. But I don't care. It's so trivial. You know, they ask questions like, do you think you'd have to... First of all, I won't even make a phone call. I won't even think about it because I don't have time to think about it. We have to renegotiate our trade deals. We have to strengthen our borders, make them incredible. We have to stop drugs from pouring into our country, including Indiana, but including New Hampshire, where they have a massive problem. That's why I really got aware of it. Drugs are pouring across heroin, pouring across our border like it's water. And we got to stop all of this. And we can do it. Now, let me tell you, one of my first calls is going to be to the heads of Mexico. I'm going to say, you can stop it before we build the wall. Get it stopped. Get it stopped. And they can do it, but nobody's telling them that. When we had Sergeant Tamarisi in jail, Obama could have called up and said, you know, we went the wrong way, and he had difficulty in life. And he went the wrong way. The guy was in one of the worst jails in the world for a long period of time. He could have made a phone call to the head, say, you got to let him out. And by the way, if I made that phone call, I'd say, do me a favor, let him out. The guy made a mistake, let him out. Big story over here. Greta was great, Greta Van Susteren. She worked hard on it. No, she worked hard on it. And I made a big contribution to him after he got out. The guy has no money. But let him out. Obama never called. There was nothing. He was there for a long time. Remember how long he was there? Every night it was all about him. Just let him out. They were tweaking us. They were taunting us. They can't taunt me. Let him out. Now, if he said no, oh, I said, that was a big mistake you made. Are you telling me, President of Mexico, you're telling me you're not going to let this guy out? Is that what you're telling me? And he'll say, well, let me think about it. And they'll go back and let him out. But in chance that he didn't, believe me, it won't be so pleasant for them, okay? Because it shows bad will. It shows ill will. Just like Kerry should have said, I want the prisoners to go before he made that stupid deal with Iran. They're going to become a world power. They already are. We took Iran and we brought them onto a stage. Now it's Iran, Iraq. They're going to take Yemen. And after they have Yemen, they don't want Yemen. That's a massive border along Saudi Arabia. They want the Saudi oil. Think of it. We protect Saudi Arabia. We get peanuts. They were making $1 billion a day. Now they make less, but still making a fortune. We protect them. America first, folks. They're going to pay, and they're going to like us better than they do now because they're going to respect us. They have no respect for us. They have no respect for us. Japan, Germany, we protect them. They got to help us out. They're behemoths. They're massive, massive industrial, incredible countries, and we protect them. We protect South Korea from the maniac next door. We have 28,000 soldiers between North and South Korea. They got to pay. We can't be the sucker, the policemen to the world. And we want to help them. We want to help them. And you know what? I really do. I want to help them because I'd rather not have them armed. But you know, if they say no, they're going to have to arm folks because there'll be a point at which we just can't do it anymore. You know, you look at our military budget, it's many times the budget of other countries. But it's really not for us. We're protecting so many people. You look at NATO, it's obsolete. And they asked me this question on CNN the other day. Wolf Blitzer, good guy. He said, what do you think of NATO? Now, look, I've been doing deals all my life, right? I'm not a big studier of NATO, but I have a lot of common sense. I said, NATO? Well, NATO, it's like 68 years old. And they have 28 countries. And the problem with NATO is obsolete. I said two things. It's obsolete. And the second thing I said, which I turned out to be totally right, and we're paying far too much of the cost. Turned out I was right on both. It's obsolete. And a lot of the guys that study NATO, they thought my answer was ridiculous. About 3 days later, they said, you know, Trump's actually right. Sometimes people are so close to something that they can't see the forest for the trees, right? The forest for the trees. Same thing with the United Nations. I don't want to speak bad. I built one of the great buildings in the history of New York, actually, right opposite the United Nations. But we pay so much. When do you see the United Nations going in and making a deal? You don't even hear the name anymore. Why isn't the United Nations making deals? Why aren't they working with Israel and the Palestinians, as an example? Why aren't, which is probably the all-time hard deal to make. I'm going to try and make that deal just because, man, would that be a beauty. You know, if you like deals, I like deals. I do deals. That would be very hard. A lot of my Jewish friends say you'll never be able to make the deal because there's so many years of hatred, especially on the other side. You know, they grow up as young children, hating Israel. I think the deal can be made. But we gotta be smart, and we gotta use our best people. You gotta use me, but you gotta use our best people.
And I know the best people. Now, with that being said, some of the smartest people I know from Israel say, we'd love to make the deal. You know, I've never met a person from Israel that didn't want to make the deal. But it's just a very hard deal to make, because it's years of whatever. But I'd love to be able to make that deal. So we're going to do things, folks, that are going to be great. We're going to start becoming a successful nation again. We're not going to be protecting all of these nations in NATO, and they're not paying up. Not only paying up, they haven't paid for years. You know, we have some haven't paid. Now, we'll end up getting in World War III protecting a nation that's in NATO that's delinquent. And not only do I want them to pay, and these will be early calls in my administration, I want them to pay. And I'll call, and if I do it, I'll do it myself. And I'll speak to the head of that nation, in some cases big, in some cases small. And I'll say, listen, you know, we're protecting you. And you're way, way behind. And these are, in many cases, they have plenty of money. Plenty of economics. And if it's not money, they have other things they can give us. It doesn't have to be money. So you got to pay up. And if they say no, we say, bye-bye, enjoy yourself against Russia. Enjoy yourself. And this is going to happen. Don't get nervous, because most likely they're going to call up the following day, we'll pay. But not only pay, they have to pay all of the delinquent. They owe us tremendous. They have to pay delinquent. You know, if somebody rents an apartment from this guy in the second row, who I know for a fact has apartments, and if he doesn't pay for the first, second, third, and you end up going to court, you don't get the 1 month rent, you get delinquent. They owe us a lot of money. And some of these countries are immensely wealthy. And we have to pay up, okay? Because we're no longer, you know, this isn't 40 years ago where we say we're going to protect the world and everything's good and we, you know, it's just that we're in a different time. So, we're going to make our military strong. We're going to take care of our vets. Our vets are being treated horribly. We're going to end Obamacare. We're going to repeal it and replace it with, there are so many options. So good, so much less expensive with that. We're going to end Common Core. We're bringing our education low. We're bringing our education. So important. We're going to have strong borders. We're going to make great trade deals. We're going to bring jobs back to Indiana and every other place in our country. We're going to have Apple making their product in the United States. We're going to stop devaluations and constant and brilliant for them, but not for us, devaluations of currency. And the bottom line, folks, you're going to leave here, hopefully you're going to love it, and we've all loved it today. I know the guy, was it worth 1:30 in the morning? He said, even more than that. I love you, okay? I got to see this guy. I got to see this guy. But a lot of people were here then. So look, we don't win anymore. We're going to start winning again. And you're going to go and vote on Tuesday. And hopefully bring your friends, bring everyone, go vote. And the more we get, you know, we have a movement. It's a movement going on. They're writing about it. They're talking about it. Everybody's talking. When O'Reilly will say, he didn't say one of the, I mean, he said the greatest single political event that he's had in his lifetime. That's a big statement. And other people have seen, they talk about it in the history of our country. They've never seen this. Look, and every room is over. And honestly, some of these other candidates come, they could never use this place because it's big. And it's not big enough because you have thousands outside. But they'll come and take a little conference room, but they can't fill it, okay? What's going on is amazing, but we have to keep it. The more we can win by in Indiana is so important. But the more we can win by, it's a mandate. It's a mandate, a really important mandate. It's a mandate for change, but not Obama change, real change. It's a mandate for genius. It's a mandate for cutting costs, but living better. I mean, the fat, the waste, the fraud, the abuse that we have in our budgets are horrible. And they're there in many cases because these senators have friends and these companies are making a fortune. And that's not going to happen with me. We're going to get our country straightened out in a positive way. So you're going to vote on Tuesday. And I promise you, folks, we are going to start winning again. We're going to win with our military. And you know what? And I say it because I told you before, I didn't want to go into Iraq. I was the one person. Hillary wanted to go into Iraq. She got bad judgment. Bernie Sanders said Hillary Clinton has bad judgment. And she said she's not qualified. I'm going to use it. Because Bernie Sanders said, the only thing I like that he said, actually, Although he also knows we're being ripped off in trade, but he can't do anything about it, I can. But Bernie Sanders said, she has bad judgment. And they went nuts. They said, don't say that, they'll use that as a soundbite. Guess what, too late. She's got bad judgment. But we're going to start winning again. We're going to win with our military, we're going to knock the hell out of us. You have to do that. That's like medieval now. I don't want to do it, we have to do it. We are going to start winning at every front. We're going to win so much that you're going to say, please, Mr. President, this is getting ridiculous. We're just winning too much. This isn't even fun anymore. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry. We've had many, many decades of only losses. We're going to win for a long time.